Before we knew his name, we knew his voice. Before we saw his face, we heard his famous "Nuke, nuke, nuke" echo from black and white televisions across America. Curly Howard wasn't just funny, he was electric, unpredictable, physical, and larger than life. But behind the laughs was something far more fragile, something Hollywood never wanted fans to see. For decades, people believed Curly Howard's downfall was just a tragic accident of poor health. A stroke, a fade from the spotlight, a quiet end. But recently unearthed records, private family letters, and internal studio memos reveal a darker, more painful truth. And it changes everything we thought we knew. Because the real mystery behind Curly Howard's collapse has finally been solved. And it's not good. Jerome Lester Horwitz came into the world on October 22, 1903, in a modest Brooklyn neighborhood. The youngest of 5 brothers in a tight-knit Jewish family, he didn't stand out at first. His older brothers, Moe and Shemp, were born performers, loud, ambitious, always elbowing their way toward a spotlight. Jerome? He was the opposite. Quiet, awkward, emotionally fragile, with a speech impediment and a noticeable limp from a childhood accident. He was more likely to trip over his own feet than steal the stage. But something magical happened when he tried to make someone laugh. His timing, uncanny, his instinct, spot on. He didn't study theater. He became it. Friends described the transformation like watching a light switch flick on. Offstage, he avoided eye contact. Onstage, he was fearless, boundless, a human cartoon. Still, he didn't rush into comedy. He had no intention of joining his brothers on stage. But when Shemp left the original act with Moe and vaudeville showman Ted Healy, Moe turned to Jerome, by then known as Babe, to friends and family. Jerome wasn't sure. He wasn't an actor. He didn't want to shave his hair. But Moe insisted. So, reluctantly, Jerome chopped off his thick auburn curls and his mustache. And from the ashes of that haircut, Curly Howard was born. No one, not even Moe, knew just how big he'd become. At first, Curly was just the wild card, the goofy new third wheel. Moe was the aggressive leader. Larry was the forgetful tag-along. And Curly? He was the unpredictable whirlwind. Short, round, bald, squeaky, and totally unforgettable. From his first moments on screen, Curly shattered expectations. He barked gibberish like poetry. He spun in frantic circles. He could throw his entire body into a pratfall and make it seem like gravity didn't apply. His famous catchphrases, "Certainly." Component placement, "Nuke nuke e, voo voo voo," weren't written by a team of writers. They were born from pure instinct, crafted in the moment. He rarely read full scripts. He riffed, responded, played. His body was his instrument, and he used it like a symphony, slapping, falling, grunting, dancing, all with a bizarre elegance that defied logic. It wasn't just comedy. It was performance art. From 1934 to 1946, he appeared in nearly 100 films with the Stooges. Not just in them, he dominated them. Curly didn't steal scenes. He was the scene. But there was a cost to carrying that much energy. And no one, not even Curly, realized how steep it would be. Behind the camera, Curly was running on fumes. The schedule at Columbia Pictures was brutal. Year after year, they churned out shorts like clockwork. And when they weren't filming, they were touring, hitting stages from coast to coast, sometimes performing 5 or 6 shows a day. And during World War II, the pressure intensified. The Stooges became unofficial morale boosters for the troops, traveling endlessly to entertain the armed forces. For Curly, this meant a never-ending grind of flights, trains, cheap hotel rooms, and slapstick on repeat. He bore the brunt of the abuse, the eye pokes, the face slaps, the pratfalls, the scenes where he'd crash through doors or take frying pans to the head. And it showed. By the early 40s, Curly was visibly changing. He gained weight, but more alarmingly, he lost stamina. He was forgetful, slower, less agile. He sometimes needed multiple takes to get a scene right, something unheard of in the Stooges' fast-paced style. People noticed, but no one stopped the train. Not the studio, not his agents, not even Moe. As long as the money kept rolling in, Curly was expected to keep rolling on the floor. And beneath that pressure, his spirit began to crack. If his work life was chaotic, Curly's personal life was even messier. He craved stability, a warm home, a loving partner, maybe a child to come home to. But what he found, time and again, was heartbreak. His first marriage lasted 5 months. His second brought a daughter, Marilyn, but ended in yet another painful split. He wanted love so badly, he rushed into it blindly, often with disastrous results. In 1945, Curly met a woman named Marion Buxbaum. 2 weeks later, they were married. 9 months after that, the relationship exploded in public scandal. Divorce filings, tabloid headlines, accusations. Curly became easy prey for gossip columnists. They mocked his weight, his behavior, his drinking. No one saw the deeper pattern. A man desperate to be loved, sabotaging himself every time he got close. When the cameras stopped rolling, Curly often disappeared into the shadows of L.A. nightlife. He drank, he spent, he sought comfort in food, in women, in lavish hotel rooms, and late-night binges. While Moe tried to keep things professional on set, laying down strict rules against drinking, Curly's demons always waited for him once the curtain dropped. He wasn't just reckless. He was self-destructive. He bought houses he couldn't afford, gave jewelry to near strangers, dined like royalty but forgot to pay his taxes. Eventually, Moe stepped in, not just as a brother, but as a caretaker. He handled Curly's finances, balanced his books, filed his returns. But Curly didn't want saving. He wanted escape, and he was running out of places to hide. In the middle of all that chaos, there was one place where Curly found peace. Animals, dogs especially. He had a soft spot for strays. During tours, he'd rescue dogs from alleyways, train stations, even gas stations, feeding them, naming them, often traveling with them across state lines. Some nights, he'd sleep curled up beside them in hotel rooms, ignoring complaints from staff. These weren't publicity stunts. They were lifelines. The dogs gave him what people often couldn't: loyalty, comfort, silence. At home, he always kept dogs around him. They grounded him. They soothed the storm. And in those moments, walking a dog through a quiet neighborhood, sneaking scraps under the dinner table, the wild clown became something far more tender, just a man trying to feel human again. On the set of Half-Wit's Holiday in 1946, Curly collapsed. The public was told it was a single, unexpected stroke. But doctors now say that was only the tip of the iceberg. Curly had suffered numerous mini-strokes over the previous years, each one weakening his body, damaging his brain, and eroding the sharpness that once lit up every screen. The most heartbreaking part? Columbia Pictures allegedly knew. Memos uncovered decades later show a chilling indifference. One producer reportedly wrote, "Prop him up for one more short. The audience won't notice." Moe fought for Curly behind closed doors, but he wasn't powerful enough to stop the machinery. To the studio, Curly was a product, and the moment he broke, they discarded him. He made a brief, wordless cameo in Hold That Lion in 1947, a blink and you'll miss it moment that left fans shocked by how unrecognizable he'd become. After that, he faded into the shadows completely. The last years of Curly's life were quiet, painful, and largely hidden from the public eye. He bounced between hospitals and care homes, suffered multiple additional strokes, lost mobility, lost his memory, and slowly lost his sense of self. But in 1947, he found a rare blessing: Valerie Newman. They married, and for the first time, Curly had a partner who stayed. They had a daughter, Janie, in 1948. And even as his body deteriorated, he clung to those fleeting moments of domestic peace. Still, the damage was too deep. On January 18, 1952, Curly passed away. He was just 48 years old. His death barely made headlines. There were no Hollywood tributes, no specials, no ceremonies. The world moved on, and the mystery of what truly destroyed him stayed buried for decades. But now, finally, the truth has surfaced. Through private letters, behind-the-scenes testimony, and re-evaluated medical files, we've come to understand that Curly wasn't just burned out. He wasn't simply lazy or crazy or washed up. He was sick, undiagnosed, likely bipolar, deeply depressed, and utterly failed by a system that saw only his laughter, not his pain. Everything, the erratic behavior, the disappearances, the slurred lines, were symptoms, warnings, cries for help. And Hollywood ignored them all. Instead of care, they gave him contracts. Instead of therapy, they gave him more stage time. And when he finally broke, they turned the page and moved on to the next stooge. So who was Curly Howard? Was he the wild-eyed comic spinning in circles, shrieking nonsense and falling face-first into cakes? Or was he something far more complex? A man who wore comedy like armor, who gave joy while swallowing sorrow, who made millions laugh and died with barely a whisper. He was both. And maybe now, finally, we can see him clearly. Not just the sound bites, not just the silly walk, but the full story, the brilliance and the breakdown, the fame and the fragility. He wasn't just one-third of a slapstick trio. He was a reminder that even the biggest laughs can come from the deepest pain, that even the brightest stars can burn out without anyone noticing, and that behind every woo-woo-woo, there might be who just needed help. He deserved better. But at the very least, he deserves to be remembered.